Welcome, traders and investors. My name's Nandis. I'm the founder of Dalrymple Trading. Today is Thursday, the 9th of October, 2025. We're here to look at the markets for the S&P 500, WTI Crude Oil, and gold. So apologies in advance for not pushing out a video yesterday. I had some personal matters to attend to, so I was out of the office the whole day. So apologies for that, but definitely we're back in the action today in terms of trading and analysis. So diving straight into the S&P 500, what we saw is that we broke to all-time highs. Okay, so we approached 67, 67, 68 in trading, and then in pre-market hours, what we're seeing is prices attempting to pull back into the mean. So my position on this now is we've started another leg to the upside with the S&P 500, obviously having broken all-time highs. So any opportunity to buy into this using a pullback opportunity with the right risk to reward ratio is definitely something to look at this week. So I'm definitely going to be buying into the S&P at this stage because we've cleared that overhead resistance of 67.50. We've broken above it. Now we're just going to pull back for a continuation to the upside with the S&P. One thing to keep in mind, as I've always said in my previous videos, is that we may see a sharp and acute correction coming because we've just been on a very, very strong bull run for the last couple of months. So it's within the realm of possibility that we actually do see an acute correction coming. All it needs is just a simple trigger, and then we can see market head down. So it's always good to ensure that if you are an investor, that you are actually placing your technical stop levels at key levels so that should the market reverse on you, you are actually protected from the downside. So just something to keep in mind, but I certainly would not be short in this market at this point. There are no indicators that, we're in any shape or form entering into a bear market. It is still a raging bull market. Looking at gold, what we saw is obviously we hit all highs again yesterday and today as well. So we're seeing prices pull back into the moving average. Again, it's a great opportunity to buy because right now is a discount. So if you are watching this video, you know, this position here is a good time to buy. This is just profit taking. So obviously these bulls that, bought into this price action, they want to take their profits. So we'll see that sort of profit taking action pull prices back. But once they hit these sort of historical lows, buyers will come back and continue to purchase gold. So yeah, definitely no shorting gold. It's all to the upside from here. Looking at WTI crude oil, so we sort of one thing I do want to mention is on my video on Monday, I believe, I explained to you guys about this gap that wasn't filled of pre-market hours. What we've seen on Wednesday is that prices actually came all the way down, filled that gap, and went to the upside. So that's what's happened here. And then we've seen a correction in prices pre-market hours. And the reason for this is a report that came out, which we'll look into shortly, which is the weekly petroleum status report showing 620.261 million. So basically, there's a surplus of oil in the US. So this is a supply side and demand side issue. So that's obviously led to a correction in oil prices. But one thing to keep in mind, though, is that because this business that we had of the gap not being filled, this is completed now. The general direction that we're seeing prices heading is this way. All right. So whilst this is a pullback, it's too premature to say that this is the start of a new trend to the downside. So until otherwise, we see sort of a further bearish action where prices sort of go down, rebound, and then we start to go down like that. Okay, it's still not bearish. At the moment, what I'm seeing here is we're seeing a correction um, based on a bullish outlook, right? And one thing to keep in mind is that we've been at historical lows for crude oil for a long time, historically speaking, and the trend has been to the downside. So we are seeing this sort of move up again. Now, it obviously does face a lot of overhead resistance. So we've been able to break past 6150 resistance level, been able to hold above 6220. Obviously, that's collapsed this morning. But to the upside, we've got 63. Then we'll have 6350 up here, 6450, 66. So even if it is going to the upside, it will be a choppy journey up because there's a lot of overhead resistance for WTI crude oil. Um, my bias on this is still bullish. Now I could be wrong, but I still have to hold on to this trend until otherwise proven. So I can't just change my bias based on short-term price action with this. So I am expecting this to correct, if not possibly even reverse from here to the upside. Guys, that's just my dog in the background. I do apologize. He's with me in the room. So that's where I'm expecting prices to go. Looking at the economic calendar for the rest of the week, so we've seen the petroleum report come out. Um, we've got some figures around unemployment that have come out to be coming out on the 9th. But the big ones here are the 15th and the 16th of October, which is next week, just around CPI and PPI, which will definitely impact the S&P 500 for sure, up or down. So something to keep in mind for next week. Um, the rest of it, it's fairly quiet for the rest of this week in terms of news. The major announcements are out. So next week is definitely going to be more intense in terms of announcements. With that, I'll leave you to your trading. I wish you all happy, good week. Thank you.